Is it possible to make thousands of dollars of passive income by self-publishing on Amazon KDP? Are some of the things that you see and hear on platforms like YouTube accurate? Can you actually make thousands of dollars publishing? Or is it all just a sales pitch to try and get you into different courses or to subscribe to different channels? Well, in this video, I'm going to be completely open and transparent about my journey, what you can expect, and some of the things that you need to know before you do start or you continue your self-publishing journey. Now, in this video, I'm joined by my pet dog, Ruby. Ruby, you say hello? No, she's not saying hello. She might be thinking about this video. Anyway, if you haven't been to my channel before, welcome. My name is Romney. And what I want to do is to run through some of the questions I've been receiving over the last 6 months through my subscribers, through different platforms. So I just thought I might use this opportunity to talk about how I've experienced Amazon KDP. What about other platforms? How long did it take for me to make my first $100, for example, self-publishing? So let's use this opportunity. It's almost going to be like a self-interview. I'll be asking myself the questions that I get asked frequently, and that hopefully will be able to help you on your journey. So let's get into it right now. Now I'm going to go through some of these questions. I'll try and keep them fairly short and succinct, but there might be a few that I expand a bit more on, just so I can help you out. So how did I start out? Well, I started out publishing some longer form non-fiction books to begin with. And I started December 2019, had a couple of books that I published and they just did no good. There was no traction at all. And I'd spent a fair bit of money by doing a course about long form non-fiction books. And then I created a book called The Habit Switch, which was this one right here. And that went to a number one. Well, initially it was a number one new release under health and fitness. It was a self-help book. And then it went to a number one bestseller. And it stayed there for maybe 2 weeks. But I didn't commit to continue to push that book, to try and get reviews, to try and get more sales. And unfortunately, just died a slow and ugly death. It's a great, well, I feel it's a great book. The reviews also show that it's a great book. But unfortunately, I didn't continue to market that book that I should. And that's lesson number one. Make sure if you're creating books and it's a great book that you keep pushing towards getting more sales and reviews, because if you don't, then slowly it will just die off. You need to keep that living organism moving. So that's tip number one. So I then continued along. I created some more non-fiction long form books, but then I saw a video about creating low content books. And I started to create those, and I felt that that was probably going to be a better use of my time, and there are some things that I could create books on. Now, what was my first 3 months or even 12 months like on Amazon KDP? And again, this is to be transparent. So for the first 3 months, I made $0. It was horrible because I'd been spending this money on buying an expensive course, creating these long form non-fiction books. They weren't doing any well. Fortunately, The Habit Switch did well, although even though it became a bestseller, it didn't earn a great deal of money because I didn't keep it up at that bestsellers with a bestsellers tag. And so it dropped off, and then it just continued to drop off. But I was spending a lot of money initially on advertising, but didn't really know what I was doing. So that was a costly mistake. And I do have a video where I talk about my first 3 months and 12 months, and it does take time. Don't expect that you're going to be making money from selling low and no content books, even high content books on Amazon initially. It does take a fair bit of time. So just be patient. It can be frustrating when you're first starting. I know for me personally, I had the high content non-fiction books, self-help books, and you are putting the book out there, and if you're new to it all, getting the traction and knowing how to get reviews and how to launch a book can be really, really hard. But without having some of those skills behind you, your book can get lost at sea with the millions of other books that are on Amazon. So let's go to number 2. Can anyone make money with Amazon KDP? No, you can't. Not anyone can. Again, it takes a certain skill set to make money with these books, and it does frustrate me when you see videos saying make $10,000 per month, make thousands of dollars every single month once you start publishing low and no content books. It just doesn't happen. There's so many moving parts that you need to get used to. And some people say, well, how many books does it take me to make, $100? Well, you could have 50 low and no content books, and they're all no good, and you don't launch them properly, and you don't get reviews for them. Well, it doesn't matter how many books you publish, you won't make you $100 because you're not marketing them properly. Yes, you can do really, really well out of Amazon KDP, but there are certain strategies you need to put in place and certain elements that you need to do. And I'll be talking more about those during this video. So no, not everyone can make money with KDP. The people who do it well and do it correctly, yes, can make a great amount of money from Amazon KDP, but you just need to ensure that you're putting the right things in place. Next one is, how long will it take me to make that first $1,000 on Amazon? Well, for me, my first $1,000 came in, I think it was about month 8, maybe about month 8 of starting. So if I started December 2019, it was around about July or August. I'd have to go back and look at my dashboard, but that was about the first time I started to make some good money from Amazon. But what you need to consider is your dashboard might tell you you've made $1,000, but then you also need to consider the spend that you're putting, say, on Amazon ads. You might have spent $400 on Amazon ads. So you've come out with $600, and then you've got taxes that you've got to pay on that. So you might only come away with $300 for that month. So yes, it's okay to say you're making $1,000, but that's not taking consideration the other marketing costs. And that's where you need to think long term about your investment into this business, and don't just think it's a quick money scheme to make lots of money with publishing on Amazon KDP. It just doesn't work like that. And don't go and give up your day job when you first start publishing thinking this is going to be a miracle money machine. From my experience, it doesn't happen like that. So just be very, very careful. Next one is, what's the hardest part about Amazon KDP? Well, the hardest part for me was getting going. So I started off with a couple of initial books. I did see some books sort of similar to this one. Don't do a cover like this. They don't sell very well. That was a very competitive niche. And if I look inside the book, it wasn't put together extremely well. Some of the reviews initially weren't great. This one's since been subsequently removed from my portfolio of books. So I created something like that for a low content book, and then I thought, I saw some nature journals, so I created a nature journal, and then that's for kids, and it's got inside just what did you see, those sorts of things. So that was another one. Then I started doing some books for letter tracing, and I started getting much better with the covers. So this is one of the covers that I did, and I started using Canva, and inside it's got all the letters, and kids could use that as a book to learn how to do letter tracing. That started to do well in the United Kingdom. Again, I was producing a lot of books, and my focus tended to be on the next book, not focusing on the book I'm publishing. I'd publish it and I'd almost move on to the next one. I was excited to get the next book, see the next big niche, and I kept on moving on. So that's probably one of the key things, is to just ensure that when you do create a book, give it some love, give yourself the opportunity to get that book out into the world. Don't just think about the next book and make that come, and think about, well, what is my next niche? What is my next book? How am I going to get that out there? And as a printing machine, my first few books. Actually, let me rewind. One of the questions is how many books shall I publish? Well, my answer to that one is just quantity beat quantity. Sorry, just quantity beat quality. And I think I learnt my most from my first 10 books that I published. As you can see, that initial book, the cover wasn't great, and I learned a lot from that. So you could probably go ahead and publish your first 10 books, learn a fair bit from it, and then slow down, pull yourself back a little bit, learn the process, and go from there. But I felt like I started to gain some traction when I started to create these sorts of books. And there was even a gratitude journal, for example, this one here. Again, some of these books I've taken out of circulation just because they don't reflect the kind of books I'm doing now. Some of them are still there. Some of them are ranked to like 3 million. Doesn't worry me now because I've moved on to children's picture story books under a different author name, a pen name. So I've got those books that are tracking really, really well. So that's sort of my next step that I've been doing for the last 12 months. One of the other books that I did was working with a close friend of mine who runs a triathlete business, a training business. So I was able to create training session logbook for him. So that's something else you can do with Amazon KDP, is work with businesses to expand your self-publishing as well. Now I'm getting off track a bit here. So what else is hard about Amazon KDP? Well, it's the competition against lots and lots of books that are going on. And now with platforms like ChatGPT, where people are creating books based on that AI content, that will potentially add more and more books at a faster rate on Amazon. So you need to stand out. And the hardest part is when you publish your book and you start to advertise that book on Amazon KDP, you need to wait 60 days from the end of the month before you get paid. So if you started a book and released it, say in January 15, you get to the end of January, well, you won't get paid until the end of March for that January period of time. So you might have sold $100 worth of books in January, but you won't get that $100 until the end of March, 60 days following the end of the that period of time. So you might start to advertise that book. You've spent $90 advertising that book, or even more, but you've got to pay for that advertising well in advance before you start getting your first royalties. So that's a challenge, the cash flow challenge initially. The other thing is trying to find profitable niches, coming up with a good cover design, coming up with a great description, and the launch of the book. There's a lot of moving parts. It's not just as simple as finding a no content book, creating a prayer journal, putting it on Amazon, and then hoping you're going to get sales. You're probably in 0.01% of people that can do that and start to generate sales, unless you get the back-end keywords right, or the title right, or you have a big email list that you can email people out and let them know about your book and get traction that way. So if you don't have an audience, it is very hard. Let's move on to the next question. What is the best part of Amazon KDP publishing? Well, for me, it's led on to so many different options and so many different ventures for me. So my passive income stream for books is one of the best passive income streams available, because when you create the books, they become a digital asset. They work for you. If you launch them properly, then you can start to let them go. They get into the Amazon algorithm, and if you use the right keywords, the right titles, etc., get the right reviews, they will feature hopefully on page 1 if you do the right research and launch them properly. And then they can just start to sell themselves. Yes, you've got the initial Amazon advertising, but you can start to pull that back after the first 60 or 90 days, and then they can start to sell organically. And because Amazon do all the fulfillment of all the book publishing through print on demand, then that just takes care of itself. So yes, it is an amazing way to generate a passive income, but it does take front end work and investment to get those organic sales. Then the back end is fantastic. You can start to generate good money. And the other great thing is the books that you create aren't exclusive to Amazon KDP when you publish them. So I've made a lot of money through expanding my publishing beyond Amazon. So my bulk of my money is coming through Amazon, but there's a great portion of money that's also coming from Ingram Spark. And you may or may not have seen, I created a video where I shared how I generate over $100,000 in selling books on an alternative platform called Ingram Spark. And that's another platform you can put your books on. And depending on the kind of books you have, you can convert them to an ebook. You can have the a paperback. You can have the hardback, as long as it's 75 pages for Amazon KDP. If it's a 40-page book, children's picture storybook, you can load it through Ingram Spark, and then it will appear on Amazon. They talk to each other, the systems talk, and it will match up if you use your own ISBN. So that one book, that one digital asset becomes many. You can even convert it to an audio book and put it onto Audible or even Findaway Voices. If it's an ebook, you can also put it onto Draft2Digital. In fact, Draft2Digital allow you to publish paperback books as well, but not all forms. They don't allow many low content books, or even definitely no content books, but for many books such as The Habit Switch, you can put on there. So that's another great thing about self-publishing, is that one digital asset becomes many, and you can publish far and wide. And I just continue to get royalties from all these different platforms every month without having to do anything. And that's one way I've wanted to automate my business, so I'm not getting inundated with phone calls or emails or return orders. They do all the fulfillment. They take care of it all, and I just receive the royalty payment at the end of the month. So, and there's no limit to how far you can scale it. It's insane that you can actually grow something and have a worldwide audience. You can translate your books into different languages as well. So you might have that one book, and you can put it into 10 different languages and have your ebook, hardback and paperback and audiobook versions of them. So that one asset becomes multiple times across multiple different platforms. So there's a great tip, and that's why I do love Amazon, KDP, plus the other platforms. And also it leads on to other things. So I've now gone on to create courses about publishing with Amazon KDP. So therefore it has allowed me to get that knowledge to share with other people of how to create low and no content books, and how to build your business, how to scale it, how to market it, how to launch a book, how to create a book cover, how to do Amazon advertising. So many different things. Let's get on to the next one. What is the fastest way to success with Amazon KDP? I think by following the right people. So there are some YouTube channels out there that I've watched. There's some people that I closely interact with. So Chris Ramond, or Chris Raydog, that's a shout out to his YouTube channel. Please check that out. Paul Miles, I initially watched Paul and got the opportunity to meet with Paul in a one-on-one interview. In fact, I'm catching up with Paul this week. So having just a general chat about everything that's happening with his YouTube channel and publishing. And I've also been in contact with Sean Dowlett, and even before that, the Mickelson brothers with high content publishing, and also Dave Macbeth as well. So just some of the people that you get to interact with if you do start a YouTube channel, you do publish these books. Some of the contacts you get is fantastic. So a shout out to those people who have had a big impact on my journey with Amazon KDP. So the fastest way, I keep getting sidetracked, fastest way to success is to follow the right people, if there's any courses that you feel like you should do, then that will limit your time. I did a course which at the very start, which helped me with the longer form books, and then I did a short course on publishing low and no content books, and that really helped. I think it cut my learning time by 90% because I didn't have to make the same mistakes that some people may have made. And there are so many great there's so many videos out there and courses out there that you can choose. So that's one way you can do it. And also just invest your time into learning the process and learning the steps. But if you're asking, how can I fast track from making $10 a month to $1,000 a month? It's time and commitment and creating the right books and launching them the right way. And that probably goes on to my next one is, can I pinpoint a specific action to make more money on Amazon KDP? Well, that has changed a fair bit over the last couple of years. When I first started, you might have been able to find some more profitable niches that you could get into. I'm finding that profitable niches are harder to find if you're trying to get into the no content publishing. With low content, I still feel that the children's picture storybook niche area is it could be very, very profitable. I found that with my children's picture storybooks. They're the best books I've got now because I've tried to target specific areas. And again, you just need to get the book together the right way. So have the right illustrator, come up with the right story, know your audience, find the right keywords, the book cover. But if I was to pinpoint something, it would be your book launch, because you invest so much time and money and effort creating your book. Don't just plop it up there. Take your time to get that process right. And I've got a free resource about how to launch books. So if you want to check that out, you're very welcome to do that. But that would be number one. And it's a combination of launching and then probably using Amazon ads. And I know many people say, well, I sell my books organically without Amazon ads. Well, that's great if you can do that. But with the number of books going on Amazon, you need an advantage. You need to get your books seen. And you can do Facebook advertising. You could do Google ads. Probably the most powerful is to create a YouTube video, to jump into Facebook groups. But Amazon advertising, I probably would say, is number one, because you've got a direct audience with who you're trying to market your books to. And they're on Amazon. They're ready buyers. So they're looking for books like yours. So the moment they click buy now, straight into it, rather than being through a third party and having to be redirected. Next one is, what are my final tips to earning thousands of dollars on Amazon KDP? Well, for me, my journey is now 3 years in, and I do make thousands of dollars per month with self-publishing books, and I've got a number of different revenue streams that occur through that. So you've got your books, and then you've also got the audio book side of things, the digital components of that. I've got different platforms that I'll put my books onto, so I don't just have exclusive books onto Amazon KDP. And that's one key thing. Don't just put all your eggs in one basket. Don't just put all your books onto Amazon KDP. Diversify. Give yourself an opportunity for your books to be seen broader than just Amazon. And yes, it's the largest bookstore in the world, but other platforms like Ingram Spark, they have over 38,000 distribution networks as part of their opportunity to do print on demand for your books. So why not explore that? There's even opportunities for other ebooks that you can do and sell through, as I mentioned, through draft to digital. And Lulu, also an opportunity to do those books too. So think about those sort of things. And the next thing would be to think of the long term about what you want to achieve in this. does take time. Don't think it's a short solution to making, lots of money. It's taken me a long time to get to where I am now. It's taken plenty of effort, plenty of investment of both time and money to get here. And I'm fortunate that I've got a great audience that support my channel, that purchase my books, that are part of my book launch team. But I started from zero. So if you're starting from zero, you might see where I am right now. But no, it didn't come easy. I had plenty of days where I was really down about where I was going. Was this going to be a success for me? And I still have days where I think, what direction do I want to take? Do I want to continue to create books and I shouldn't be, what I probably need to reflect on is not trying to chase the next best thing. I think I need to focus on creating better books or more books in the niches that I find successful, helping people to make money themselves with creating courses to fast track their learning so they can learn as much as they can as quickly as possible to implement. But remember, a course will show you and teach you what you need to do, but ultimately it's up to you to take that action to make it happen. Nothing will happen if you just stand idle and not do anything. So don't just become a course junkie and take all these courses without implementing what needs to be done. And it's just those little points of traction you need to take that will help you get your momentum. And I guarantee you're going to come up against some challenges. There'll be times you feel like going, this is not for me. I'm going to stop. Amazon advertising's costing me too much. I'm not making any sales. We'll reflect back on why that might be happening and know that we all go through that. It's not just yourself that's isolated into that situation. I went through it myself, and as you've seen my other videos, it took me months and months before I actually made any money that was worthwhile on Amazon KDP. So that's something to think about too. I do hope you've really enjoyed this video. I just wanted to be transparent about my journey, and if you've got a few questions you want to ask beyond what I've spoken about in this video, then please let me know. I've got so many free resources that you can access. I'll put some of the links in the description below. I've got my courses on Udemy, which you're very welcome to take if you want to access them for the value that you get. It's insane. For $12 or $20 you can buy like a 4 or 5 hour course, so do that. I've got my courses on Thinkific where you can do a subscription model. Check that out. Anyway, there's heaps of stuff there. Thank you so much for listening. If you've got all the way through to the end of the video, it means a lot to me. If you have liked it, just give me a thumbs up so I know that this content is valuable for you. Subscribe if you've never been to the channel before. Hopefully I can help you some more. And from me and Ruby, who's still asleep in the background here, wishing you all the best, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.